here, and I'm super excited because today I'm sharing with you guys a video that was requested. I posted a picture of our budget binder in a Facebook group, and it was requested that I do a walkthrough video for you guys of what is in this binder and how we use it. So without further ado, let's get started. Alrighty guys, so here is our budget binder, and this is just the front, obviously. So all I did was I actually used some scrapbook paper, and I just cut out basically a cover that I found on Pinterest. So this is actually from one specific budget binder set. I didn't end up using the insert from this set though, so I really liked the cover, so I used that. But again, I added the scrapbook paper and then I just attached the little cover, the label here, with some washi tape. And then it also has a spine, which I thought was really cute. So it says budget binder. So when this is sitting on our bookshelf, we know exactly what it is, and it keeps it at the forefront of my mind because our bookshelf is in the living room, so I can see it really consistently. So let's get into the inside here. So the first things that you see are in this pocket here is where I like to keep anything that hasn't been paid yet or anything that has to be paid. So for example, these three things, one is like our Comcast bill, one is our rent statement, and then one is our insurance statement as well. So two of those three were actually paid already, so they will get transferred into the bill section. But this just keeps it in the front of my mind that these things still need to be paid or taken care of, or the check needs to be written or what have you. This other thing here is just a printable that I got online from Pinterest, and I will have all the printable items linked below so that you guys can get the resources that I used if you like them. So this is just the Dave Ramsey baby steps written out, and I really like to have this in the front of the binder because it keeps us focused on what the steps are, what we're working towards, and what, really what the priorities are. So I went ahead and laminated this, and then I just hole punched it. So that stays in the front here, and it's kind of like a dashboard. So for all my planner addict ladies, I could add sticky notes and different things to the back of it because it's laminate, so it's not going to stick on there permanently. The next thing I have is just a little sleeve here. It's like the half size sleeve, but I keep our checkbook in here, and this is what we use to pay for any bills and like rent and things like that. So that gets put in there. The next thing is a folder. So in this folder right now, I just have some receipts. So anything that we purchase, with like our funds or anything that like is needed and we purchase it, I'm going to keep the receipts in here so that I know exactly where they are at all times. And then also I'll just be able to, like, if we need to make a return or exchange something, we'll know exactly where the receipt is, and we don't have to go through like, oh, I lost my receipt. Okay, you have to get store credit or something like that if you don't want the item. So these are just a few receipts, and these actually need to be put away because these are items that we're keeping. So they were just in my wallet, so they're in here for right now. So this is really the meat of the binder. So this is where we get into it. And what I used to create the binder were just these little page dividers, just 8.5 by 11 little page dividers. And I used, again, just some scrapbook paper that I had on hand to make labels and also to make the dividers kind of cute. So instead of like making my own dividers or really like creating them or printing a bunch out, I just decided to make my own because I had the supplies on hand. One thing that I needed to purchase for this, I had almost everything on hand, but one thing that I did need that you'll see in the budget section are the individual tabs. So I'll show you guys those, and I got them at the Dollar Tree. But anyway, these are just page protectors, and I added little scrapbook hearts on the ends to be the tabs. And they're not super sturdy, but because this stays at home, I didn't really need it to be the strongest, most durable material at all. So I think you guys can see that pretty well. So in our financial overview, we just have our account information, and what I'm going to do with these sheets is add on all of our accounts in here. So the company, it has the policy number, username, website, phone number, your password, and et cetera, et cetera. And there's even a place to take notes, an address for it, and a type here, and then an agent. So if there's someone that you work with for that company, you'll be able to put their name there. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you guys can see this a little bit better. So that is the account information one, and I got all of the printables that I used for the inside, like the meat of the binder, from the same place. It's called the cornerstoneconfessions.com. I'll have a link below to these, and they're really great. They are actually made so that you don't use a lot of ink when you're printing them. So that was one thing I loved. The other thing I really liked is that she has a verse here on the bottom of most of the pages here, and it's just a different verse for like each little category, which I loved. So I'll zoom back out here. All right, so this is all that's really in the overview section, is just our account information. The next section is our budget. So to get into our budget, I'll show you guys what I did. So for each month, I have a different tab. And the first thing that we have here on the left-hand side is a calendar, and it's for 2016, just because we're in the last month of 2015, so I didn't feel it was necessary to have the full calendar for this year. But for 2016, I'm going to mark out when our paydays are, when we have big bills due, like our car registration, or just like things that are irregular. Then when those things come up, I'll have those marked in here as well. And then as well as like birthdays and things like that, so we can kind of have a forecast of what we have to pay for in the future. So for each month, I have a tab, like I said. So in the tabs, and these are the things I bought from the Dollar Tree, so it's just the little clear tabs, and they're not all clear, but they're colored. And then they have a little section where you can put a label in. So I just got these from the Dollar Tree. They were like 12 in a pack or something like that, 10 in a pack. So for each month, I have the month, actually, the month layout here, and we can just write in whatever bills we have due on each day, and then again, also when paydays are and things like that. So it's just a bigger overview for you to have for the month. The next thing I put are goals. So there's a sheet that has goals for individual months. So we actually still need to fill this out. But we're going to put what our goals are for each month here. So it has different categories: family, personal, home management, other, and that's it. So the other thing that I have in here is our monthly budget. So what I did is I made a spreadsheet, and it's on Google Docs, so if you guys want this, I can give it to you as well. This one is blank, but ours that we'll use has the actual amounts in it as well. And so we have estimated, and then what comes in or whatever is going out for each week, and then we'll have totals as well. So I went through and broke it down based on what we actually what our income is and what we actually spend money on. And I didn't like any of the ones that I found online because they were just too generic, and I really wanted it to be very specific for us. I even have our debts on here, and then our sinking funds. I broke our sinking fund categories into two, because one is necessities. One is our things that we have to pay for, right? Like car registration, car maintenance, clothes. You have to get new clothes. You have to take care of your hair, things like that. Our dog. All of those types of things. The other section is for desires, so things that we would like to spend money on, like doing something fancy for our anniversary, etc., etc. But these things are obviously not before our debts get taken care of, so that's why they're desires and not like necessities. So any extra money we have after these necessities are met would be going to our snowballs and our debts. And then there's just a line for the totals here. The other thing in this section is a debt payment plan. So each month we're going to look at where we are with our debt payment plan, and just have a good overview here, see what our plans for the month are going to be and which payments we're going to make, and then what the balances will be. So we know for each month kind of how we're doing and how we're progressing with that. The other thing I have is a check register. So anytime we write checks, we'll put that here. We don't write too many of them, but it's still important to really keep track of that. And then also an expenses log. So anything that we spend money on, I want to be tracking that as well. And then this section, I'm not sure if I'm going to actually keep this in here. It's just something I laminated, but it's meals for the month. And then it also has a grocery list on it as well on the back. So I printed it as a double-sided page. And I liked it because I think planning out the meals for the month will really help me when I'm grocery shopping and budgeting for groceries and things like that, seeing, if there's a week that we have some extra money, what do we need to pay for the coming weeks, and maybe we can get a head start on that and things like that. So I really like this. I'm just not sure if it's going to stay in here or not, or if I'll actually use it. So again, for each month I have the same things. So I believe I just did up until May. So this is January, February, March, April, May. And these are all obviously 2016. And yeah, so then the rest of the tabs I just left empty for now. And then as the year goes, we'll just add the new sheets in here. The next section we have is our bills. So I really wanted to, I'll be honest guys, I'm really bad with tracking our bills. So this section was really important for me. So what I did was just made I have this monthly bill schedule here, and we'll fill in which bills are due on which day. And there's also a section for if they're auto payments or not, which I love, because if it's an auto pay, then you don't have to like write a check or go in and manually pay it, but it just comes out automatically. But it's important to know if it's auto or not, because I tend to get not confused, but I tend to forget. The other thing in here is a regular income priority plan. So because my husband, he's also a massage therapist, he does a few things, he's got a few jobs, but he gets some irregular income at times. And so we want to have a plan for what to do with that income. So, when we receive it, we'll write in what it is here, and then the amount, and what our plan is with it. So what we're going to do with that. Obviously right now it's going to be building our emergency fund and paying off debt, but this is a good place for us to be able to track those things and to tell also like what part of the year, if there's more income, that's kind of irregular, not our standard paychecks or not. The other thing that's back here are just bills. So I just did some bill statements back here, and I'm going to keep those for whichever month we're in, and just to keep track of those. The next thing are our debts. So I'll show you how I have these broken down in the sections here. Again, I did add the tabs here, so we have one for each debt that we're going to be working on paying towards. This is our debt payment plan. So this is again something that's in the monthly, in our monthly budget divider for each month as well. But this is just going to have our debts listed out, and then the payments left, the total owed, the minimum payment due, what our plan is for this month, so what kind of snowflakes we're going to be throwing at those debts, and then what the balance is after that. So this is kind of the big overview one that we're going to do. So we're going to have each of our debts listed here, and then the information for all of those. And what I'm going to do for each individual debt section is a category register. So I'll show you what the actual tabs look like for each section. So this is like debt number 1, right? So this is the first one we're working on. So this is going to be our smallest debt. So behind this little divider, I have a category register, and then I'll put in what the debt is actually for. So like we know what company it's to. And then each date that we make a payment, we'll basically just keep track of it here. So the dates, the payee, which it will be the same, and then the memo, payment, deposit, and the balance. So however much we're paying, and then what the balance is. And this will really help us to track, how our snowflakes are going and how the snowball is rolling, because we'll be adding payments to each, smallest debt as often as we can. So that's what those are for. And then I just have the statements behind each of these guys. So I'm kind of going to flip to the next section because that's kind of some personal information. Alright, so the last one here is this green guy, and this is still in the debt section, but this is for the debts that are paid off. So there's a couple things that we've actually paid off already, so they will go back here, but they're not in here now because obviously that's our information. The next section we have is savings. So our savings section, we have our goal planning tool, and this is probably like the most fun section for me, is looking at our goals and what we want to achieve. So this is actually for an annual goal, so it has the annual goal listed here, the focus area, expected end date, and then priority if it's high, medium, or low, and then the steps needed to complete the goal. So I am very much like a step-by-step kind of person, so for me this is really helpful, and I like to get like small wins. So to write down, for example, like right now our biggest goal is our emergency fund. So for each step, we need to put X amount in our emergency fund account, and then month assigned, and then when it's checked off, so we can, check it off when it's completed. So basically just breaking this down by each step that's needed in order to complete this goal is going to make me really excited and just give me a lot of motivation. And then any notes here. So for example, again, for our emergency fund, because we're really focused on funding that right now, we're selling some things and just kind of getting rid of some excess things. So even though it's really hard to do, I'm going to be writing notes here on like the things that we've sold in order to get to, X amount with our emergency fund. The next page in this section is more goals. So just annual goals, and it really breaks it down by family, personal, home management, other, and then each of those categories are subcategories. So for the family one, because it's more of like a wife thing, I feel like to have this budget binder, like my husband's not going to make this, but it has as a wife, as a mom, as a daughter or sister, and then personal is spiritual, physical, mental, etc., etc. So lots of different areas that you can write goals for, and it helps you to really stay on track and to stay motivated and to have a clear direction of where you're going and what you want to achieve, not only with your finances, but with these other areas of your life as well. So I love that. This one are just, more goals as well, so family, personal, home management, and then you can put in your own subcategories if there's specific areas you want to focus on. The last page in this section is our savings tracker that, again, I just made on Excel, and this is our emergency fund. So when I created this, our balance was $200, as you can see, the beginning balance over here, so terrible, like really, really bad. But I'm happy to say that it's only been about a week or so, and we've actually almost tripled the amount already, so that's really good, so we're making good progress for that. And then the last section here are our sinking funds. So our sinking funds, for those of you who don't know, they're anything that you know will be an expense that you want to put money away towards, or also some people look at them as like things that you're saving for as well. So like I mentioned earlier, in our budget we have two different categories. One is necessities and one is desires. So I have them broken down by that as well in here. So the first thing we have here are clothing needs lists. And basically my husband and I are going to write down if we need specific things to be added to our wardrobe. So if there's something like really specific that we need, so say like one of us needs like a jacket for the winter, or one of us really needs like new shoes or new boots or socks or anything like that, we'll just write it down, put the person, what size it is, the quantity. And then since I typically do the shopping, I can take our clothing fund if I know I'm going out somewhere shopping for clothing, and I can get whatever is on this needs list and whatever the priority is. So really helpful, and it really keeps you to not just be shopping for anything and everything when you hit the store, because that's how I can be. I just look for all the shiny things. This one is movies to watch, and this one I wanted to add in here because for my husband and I, for like date night ideas, because there's tons of movies that we have that we'd like purchased in the past but we haven't watched them, or movies on Netflix that we see and we'd like to watch but we don't go back to them. So this is just going to help us to track those and say, if there's like a weekend night or something where we're like, we want to watch a movie or we want to go out and do something, I can pull this open and say, well, we want to watch this movie, so let's, just make some popcorn and get some snacks and, and watch the movie and have that be like our date night at home. So I'm really excited for this. And the other thing are books to read. So again, this is really going to be based on things that we have at home already, because like I said, I can be such a, just really a consumer. A really big shopper is my issue. So I'm going to write down all the titles that I haven't read of books that we have at home already. And then when I want to read a new book, I'll just look in here, pick a book that we already have at home, and I can dive into that. And that'll help us to save money, and will also help me to just feel like fulfilled and that I'm actually like reading something new. So back here are our actual sinking funds. So again, I prioritize them in order of either necessities or desires. So this first section here are necessities. So we have car registration, car maintenance, clothes, Christmas, which will be 2016, and then hair, and then also Kiki, who is our dog, so Kiki vet. So anything that we need to pay for at the vet, or have, upcoming expenses, that will go in here for her. And then these are the things that are desires. So say we get like some extra money, that's not going towards debts, which again, because of where we're at in this whole process, everything extra should go towards debts. But there are also things that, we know that we want to still enjoy life and to be able to do some little things here and there. So one thing is like our anniversary. We love to do something fun and kind of special to celebrate our anniversary. So that's a desires one. Apple Hill, which is like a fall thing that we go to every year with our family. It's like an apple orchard where we live. So we love to do that. Birthdays, any money we want to spend on birthdays. Home love is what I called this. So anything we want to get for the home, like I love to get like new pillows or just different accents for different seasons and things like that. So a home love fund. This is a home purchase, which this is actually a different baby step. But again, if it's something that like, say like someone gives us a gift or something, and we want to put that away. So that's an option there. And then M&M, this is for our future little ones. So we want to start saving money for them. And then Valentine's Day as well. So if we want to do something fun for Valentine's Day or like go out or things like that, we'll have that fund as well. And like I said, you know, I know that obviously like the step that we're on in the whole baby step process, a lot of these are not applicable to that step or to the step that we're in, but, you know, in the future, or, you know, if we feel inclined, or someone, like for example, my parents like to give us specific like funds for specific things, like this is for your anniversary, or, you know, go out to dinner with this money or something like that. We'll put that in here and save it for when we really want to use that. In this back folder, I just have some extra binder spines that I had printed out for the binder. And then these are just a couple of extra envelopes. So these are just envelopes that I would use for the sinking funds. And this is an envelope I got from the bank. So I just decided to keep it. It was sturdy and it fits money really nicely. So that is the end of the budget binder. So that's everything that's in here. Again, it's something brand new for us, and so it's going to be growing and changing and evolving as we evolve and, you know, get more and more in depth with this process. But I hope that you've enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, leave them below and I would love to answer them. And again, I'll have all of the resources listed below as well, so be sure to check those out. Let me know if you have any questions.